How to create cinematic atmosphere. Hello everybody, my name is Mark Banyuli, and in this cinematography breakdown I'm going to show you a nice story-based commercial where they have overall on this footage this nice hazy atmosphere. But there are a lot of techniques you have to consider when you want to haze a room. After watching this video you should be able to shoot something like this. This is the first shot we're looking at, and as you can already see, this is the look we want. This is the look a lot of cinematographers are going for. This nice, soft but contrasty look, lifted shadows, overall flatter image, but still feels with a lot of color depth and contrast, and this nice glow in the background. Overall, just a cool look. But how do we generate an image like this? When you're going for this look, always going for the natural way. What I mean with the natural way, when you light a scene like this, you go into the room, first thing you do is search for the light sources. Where are the windows? Where are the lamps? Where is it possible that light is coming from? And now you use this light and extend the scenery. What they've done here, you can clearly see the light is only coming from here. It's possible that it's just sunlight. The other possibility is in a scenario like that where you want to blow out the window because maybe it's raining outside or there's something uninteresting in the background that you don't want to show. You pull up with a big butterfly, could be everything, with an ultra bounce on it, cover the window, and then you use strong lights, could be everything, M18, M40, aperture 2400, 5200, and just blast it in there until you're just under overexposing so that you give this glowing look. Overall, you need a filter for it, so that the promise filter I would use more for this dark diner type scenes. For a scene like this, you maybe use a glimmer filter. A glimmer filter doesn't lift the shadows as much as a promise filter. It just controls the highlights and let them glow a bit. So maybe this is a glimmer filter that I used in this commercial. Then when you look closely at her, she is actually not lit at all. The only light that she's getting is the bounce from this wall to her face, and that's it. It's almost like no light lit look. What they've probably done here, which is a possibility, don't only light your actor. The whole scenery is your room, is your location. So also try that. What they've probably done here is maybe the bounce already give us here this nice light on the table. Or the other possibility is that they placed another light here right at the corner of the window that just blast hard light into the scenery so that we get a little more wrap and contrast. Then the only other thing you do is black out the other side of the wall. Use your biggest small zone, go on the other side of the room and black everything out so that this light is not bouncing back on her. Only the light from the window and from the wall should hit her. To enhance a little bit of exposure on her, you can actually place something like paper on the table, because that's a brighter big source so that the light is bouncing on the table and backed into her face. And then with a little bit of DaVinci power masking, you can get a little bit more depth out of the scene without adding any lights at all. Then a lot of people only haze for night scenes, but haze is also a nice tool to use at daylight, because now, as you can see, we have the smoke from the fire here, but also here is overall haze in the room. Haze lifts the shadow, so everything that is pretty contrasty in the background now has a more contrastless look, and this helps most of the time, because you don't want to haze always the whole room, only haze the background, because now the room has something that fills the atmosphere and your subject in the foreground still pops out more of the image, because now the background has less contrast and the foreground has more contrast. Also, a nice thing about haze is color contrast. As you can see with the fire, because of the color grading, the highlights get blue, so that you have a nice contrast to skin tones, the wood, and overall, never forget to dress your actors accordingly. I know I wanted the most depth in the scenery. They choose to put her into this blue knitwear, which helps her pop out of the scene even more. This is the next shot, and this one also looks really cinematic, but when you look at the shot, it looks already not lit at all. But why still does it look good? The secret is always create layers. As you can see, his back is actually dark, so that means from this side of the room where the camera is standing, there's no light bouncing back. So they probably put Molton again here and created with that another dark layer. We always work in dark, bright, dark, bright, dark, bright, dark, bright. With how many layers of dark, bright you can build, the more three-dimensional your image becomes. This is for sure not for every scene, every time, but it's a nice concept you have to keep in mind when you're working at a scenery, to know what you have to look for. But also a huge trick, always expose for the window. Always use curtains curtains, I told you in many videos before, are most of the time the secret for the cinematic look, because it frames an area of the image nicely, it diffuses the light a little bit, and also brings texture into the room with light and shadows. You can actually see the light source here in the corner. It could be the sun, it could also be just a big light that is blasting into the room to create a little bit of contrast. Like I said before, we don't only light the actor. Most of the time, in a scene like this where I want to create a silhouette, I want to remove light from our actor, but add light and contrast the rest of the scene, so everything becomes more three-dimensional. Now we are on an ice hockey field, and already again this scene has so much depth and atmosphere, and here you can clearly see the use of haze, because we only haze the background. He has still a lot of contrast, and here again they put him in a silhouette, because in a shot like this the movement is important. You don't always have to see the actor completely. The concept and the feeling of the room is much more important. Sometimes you go in a location, check out the light sources, and the most annoying thing that can happen is that they programmed in lines, so that you switch off a light, all these light goes out, or all these lights go out, or that this side goes out. It's pretty annoying. But what they had probably luck, because they could turn off every light that was above him, because sometimes it's just about removing light, like in the shots before. Here, okay, I want the silhouette look, because when he would be bright, the shot would feel flat. So like I said before, bright, dark, bright, dark, bright, dark. And here they made him dark so that we had created another layer. The other possibility is, it's pretty annoying, that you have to go up there, remove the bulbs of the lights to create a contrast of him. But this work they put in really make this shot more special, more cinematic, because now we have more depth. Here when you're going in for a play scene and a close-up, you can clearly see in here now they changed the light again. There is still the top light in the background, but maybe they put down the lamp here so that this goes a little bit darker. Also, here is someone with bounce or an Astera. What I like to use in scenes like this where you have a lot of moving, use an Astera with a balloon attachment. Astera are these big LED tubes, and nowadays there are brands that build balloon cases for them. So you increase the light source. Often you can also put 2 in them, and it's pretty light, pretty decent output, and it's really soft. This is good for scenes where you really just want to kiss the actor with a little bit of light. And here on the other side they try to remove it. Maybe someone is following her with a floppy, and this is how you create depth. Just remove light from one side, adding a little bit light from the other side. Check out, okay, where can I put down lights, put lights on to create a bit more depth. And when we analyze the scene, you can see we have dark, bright, dark, bright, dark, bright. So it's always does so. And like I said before, the more layers you build, the more three-dimensional the image is feeling. Here there's another cool shot from the scenery where they just basically use the top light. This could be everything. Just use your 600D, 300D, put it on there with the normal reflector add-on, and just blast it onto the ground. But you have, when you're in a room like this where light is bouncing all over the place, sometimes you need really good output, because you have to over and underexpose the background. What it means is that they have to be so bright, your actors, that you put on in these and these and these, that everything around becomes dark. Sometimes it's not possible to darken the whole location, so there's still light here, and then you have to use a really, really strong light. But this is a stadium, so they could possibly just shut everything out and that's pitch dark in there, and just put on this one lamp, a little bit of haze, and it's done. So if you enjoyed this video, I really would appreciate subscription from you. My name is Marco Bagnoli, and I'll see you next time.